Many people have been asking the same question: why did you move to Slovakia? So I decided to make this video to answer this question, talk about how I see Slovakia, if I'm planning to stay here for much longer, and similar nuances of this topic. If you are new to this channel, I moved from Italy to Slovakia a few years ago, and especially since when I started this channel, I received a lot of comments from Slovak people asking me, why did you move from Italy to Slovakia? Or why did you choose this country, which is in such bad conditions? So first of all, I understood that they assume that Slovakia is not a good country to move in or to even live in. Surprise, surprise, Slovakia is not as bad as many people think. But before I tell you why I choose Slovakia, why I'm living in this country, remember to subscribe to my channel to see additional videos each week and to leave a like to this video if you will like it, of course. First of all, and as many other things, Slovakia has its pros and cons. Many things change depending whether you are living in the capital city, Bratislava, or other big cities, or in small towns or villages. Personally, I live in Bratislava, the capital city, a big city, but not so big if you think about it. Indeed, Bratislava is a capital city that is much smaller when compared to other major European capital cities. If in a way this is not great because you would have less opportunities and in general less things to do, the other side of the coin is that it's way more livable compared to huge cities. I want to first list a few positive things that I really like about Slovakia and specifically about Bratislava that will help you understand why I choose moving to Slovakia. So the very first point why I appreciate Bratislava is the reason I just mentioned. It is a mix of a big city and a not so big city. It has traffic but not so much traffic, and if you think it has a lot of traffic, you have probably never seen a real huge endless traffic as it is in other cities, like for example Milan or Rome or any other huge metropolis in Europe, for example, or in the rest of the world. It's quite easy to move around the city on foot, let's say, well, depending where you have to go, of course, but especially using public transportation, which in my opinion is very efficient and well organized. Bratislava, but I believe Slovakia in general, is very clean and well organized. It looks very well taken care of. Drivers are pretty calm, or they can be a bit crazy only in peak hours, but is nothing compared to the drivers in other European capitals where maybe there is way more traffic, and in order to survive, in order to arrive where you have to arrive, you need to be a bit more aggressive, let's say. There are big companies that offer good jobs and good opportunities for people, even for fresh graduates that need to start their career, so that's a very positive side, but that's also a different topic and I could make a full different video about this one. Also, Slovak people are quite polite, and even if I often hear that Slovaks are not welcoming to foreigners, at least in Bratislava I cannot feel that at all, to be honest. Being the capital city, I guess that in Bratislava people are generally speaking more used to an international environment. A big con is that there is no sea, but that's not something I can complain about because we cannot change these kind of things. And of course, I was not expecting it from Slovakia. But Slovakia has a great nature, mountains, lakes, forests. Even just outside of the capital city, Bratislava, we have good forests and places to make hiking and good nature in general. So as you can see, there are a lot of positive things about Slovakia, but Slovaks usually focus quite a lot on the negative things rather than on the positive ones. Let me tell you one fact, it's the same in Italy. While so many foreigners see Italy as the perfect country, Italians are very self-critical, they complain a lot, and sometimes they are right to do so. Now that I've reminded you a few positive things about Slovakia and Bratislava, why did I move here? To be honest, it's pretty random. Initially, because I moved here 7 years ago, I was not looking specifically into Slovakia, into Bratislava. I was just looking for a job, and I was open to many different opportunities, many different cities and country. And I found a job in Bratislava first. So to answer directly to this question, I moved to Bratislava because I found a job here. Has it been a while since when I moved here? Yes, as I said, I moved here 7 years ago. Was I planning to stay here for so long? Nope. Have I ever thought about moving back to Italy? Of course I did. Have I ever thought about moving elsewhere? Yes. Am I moving already? No, not right now. So I hope now there is a clearer picture on why I moved to Slovakia, Bratislava. Another question could be if I like living here, and I think from the beginning of this video it's understandable that yes, I like living here. I never really gave myself a timeline of how many years I wanted to live here. For example, saying, okay, in 2 years, after a little bit of job experience, I will move elsewhere, or things like that. So when I moved, I said to myself, if I will like the place, if I will like the job, etc., I will just stay there, not forever, but like I didn't want to limit myself to a set timeline, because I just don't like this approach, and I just don't like thinking always where I should move next. However, if I have to think about one thing that I don't like here, and that started quite recently, is the enormously increasing cost of living. But that does not only apply to foreigners, of course, this applies to everybody. The cost of living in Bratislava increased so much lately that sometimes I feel like I'm living in Dubai. But I really don't want to talk about the negative things right now. There is, of course, no perfect place to live in. There are always some pros and cons of living in one place rather than the other. And while, yes, on the one side, it's true that in some countries, in some cities, the living standards are higher than in others, I believe it's better to focus on the positive things rather than on focusing on the negative sides. When someone wants to move elsewhere, especially if it's a new country, let's say, other than a new city, it's fundamental to evaluate all the pros and cons of the new potential cities in all fields of life, not only salaries and cost of living, but also services, healthcare, for example, finding a job, school if you have kids, documents, and also the motivation why you want to go to a certain country or city. I'm very curious to hear from you if you have ever lived abroad, whether you were going to school abroad because maybe your parents were living abroad, or whether you were working, if you liked it or not, and maybe if you are still living abroad, whether it is Slovakia, Italy, or any other. Let me know in the comments below. I really hope you liked this video. I hope I answered your question, and if you couldn't care less of why I have moved to Slovakia, well, if you're Slovak, I think you at least can appreciate Slovakia a bit more now that I listed so many positive sides of it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye!